back to Amber's Tarot. So I'm going to be doing a reading for Aquarius for July 2018. I'll be using my three normal decks, my Messenger Oracle deck, the Dreams of Gaia deck, and the Art of Tarot deck. So without further ado, let's draw the Oracle card. Sorry if you can hear any outside noises. Somebody's drilling somewhere. Okay. The Oracle card drawn is Let the Emotions Flow. Draw the Dreams of Gaia. Okay, so the cards that have been drawn so far, so that's the Oracle card, Let the Emotions Flow. We've got, for the first week, we've got the Union card, which is reversed. We've got the Counselor card for the second week. We've got the reversed King of Fire card for the third week. And we've got this card, which is the Ten of Fire. Okay, so draw the Art of Tarot cards to go with them. We've actually got 5 that have come out on the Art of Tarot. Okay, so because of that, I'm going to draw another Dreams of Gaia. So this could mean that this is going to spread over 5 weeks, but it could also mean over 4 weeks or 4.5 weeks. There'll be some overlap. Some situations may take less or longer than a week. So the cards that have been drawn, the first 2, which are matched, are the Reverse Union and the 2 of Pentacles. But before I do that, I should just read about the Let Your Emotions Flow. These are pretty self-explanatory, but sometimes there's hidden gems within them. Okay, this is all about allowing you to yourself to feel the emotions you're feeling without judging them. So don't blame yourself if you feel anger. Don't judge yourself if you feel anger and you really know that you really don't have any right to be angry. You have to accept your emotions, allow them to yourself to experience them, but just be aware that that's all they are, an emotional response. You don't need to act upon them. So this is about doing that. It's about letting them go, letting them flow through you and then letting them go. And learn from them, embrace them for what they are, a natural response to the moment that you exist in that will pass as the moment passes. So this is all about driving our own vehicle rather than allowing our emotional engine to drive us. Okay, so the first 2 cards is the 2 of Pentacles. Which is the Pentacles are generally about financial life. And it's been paired with the Union card reversed. Okay. Right, okay, so the Pentacles card Okay, so the 2 of Pentacles can be about a business partnership. It can be, and if it's so, it's about a harmonious partnership in your life at this time. But this partnership will create great demands on your time and your money, your financial capability. So it's a bit of a warning card to be very careful that you're going to need to be juggling some things. However, it can also talk about, on a domestic level in your home life, a functional but often chaotic relationship. Now, the Union card talks about relationships. So I'm going to go, but these 2 cards together is talking about a personal relationship in your life. Now, this could have a financial aspect to it. So especially if it's a marriage or a long-time partnership or anything that involves shared finances in any way. Meaning that there could be times of serenity, of harmony within it, but then chaotic times that could impact on your financial world as well. The Union card reversed is a warning. It's an advisory card about not looking for happiness and wholeness within your external relationships, and the majority of people go through life doing that. They feel we're raised in a culture that teaches us that to be complete, to be an adult, means to be in a relationship of some kind, and that's not the case. That is a paradigm that we are indoctrinated with within our culture. Doesn't mean it's true. And so many people go through life and they're looking for happiness. They're looking for that sense of wholeness, like now and grown up, if they have this relationship. And that traps so many people in unhealthy relationships, that they'd be better off being alone. Many people have a fear of being alone, for many different reasons. The Union card reversed is suggesting that you need to let go of that fear. Now, that doesn't mean that it's advising you to leave your relationship. It's advising you to stop believing that your anchor to happiness or harmony, even if it's temporary periods of harmony within your life, is anchored in the fact of your relationship, because it's not. It's anchored within you. So these two cards together are talking about you re-evaluating your perceptions about your relationship, or the relationships within your life, and especially ones that have a financial aspect to them. This could mean a business relationship, because similarly, if you're in some sort of business partnership or creative partnership with another individual, or more than one other individual, where finances are underpinning it or involved integrally within it, we also tend to validate our self-worth by our jobs, by our vocations. Again, this is another aspect of doing what I was talking about before. We're seeking happiness and validation that we are adults, that we have made it from external things, external relationships, everything that's outside of ourselves. We don't look within ourselves. We don't find that root, that happiness, that security within ourselves. We're looking for other things to give it to us. So these cards are talking about a situation where there is some kind of relationship, and in that relationship money is involved. It is often harmonious, but then goes through chaotic periods, and during those chaotic periods you are experiencing anxiety and fear. What if this relationship breaks down? What if this doesn't work? What if they leave me? What if this creative partnership or business partnership ends? What then? It's this fear and anxiety that keeps coming back and circulating through you every time you go through a chaotic period. These cards are suggesting to let that go. Now, remember the Oracle card, let the emotions flow. That doesn't mean you deny or repress those emotions, because they are a part of you. But what it means is that you look at these emotions as a separate part of you. Allow yourself to feel them and be curious and interested in, why do I feel this? Where is this coming from? What part of my upbringing and my culture is making me believe that, to have a constant fear and anxiety that this partnership of whatever kind it is will fail, that will have an impact on how I feel about myself? Once you understand that that's erroneous, that is not the truth, then you can let that fear go. Because if it happens, it happens. It's meant to happen. It doesn't mean that you are less of a valid or validated or professional or an adult. It doesn't impact on you as who you are. You're still the same person. It's just circumstances are changing, and that's part of life. So this is an opportunity for you this week to reevaluate your emotional responses to this situation, and to see through that as simply an emotional response born of a cultural indoctrination to an idea that this is what you must do through life in order to be successful, to have made it. Now, this could be your family's view. Many families in our culture are the same. They believe that unless you've done this, and this, and you've not made it, you've not been successful. We are very prejudiced. We look at single parents as having not made it, even though that's one of the hardest jobs of all. So this is a good opportunity for you to learn and to grow. So remember the Oracle card, allow yourself to feel these emotions, do not repress them, that's the worst thing you can do, but don't allow them to dominate your mind and your actions. See them for what they are. A bit like the response that when you stick your finger in the flame, you pull your finger back automatically. It's just an automatic response. Okay, so the next two cards that I've been paired are the Counselor card and the Two of Wands. This has been paired with the Counselor. Sorry, the Counselor is a water card. It's 12 of water. So it's about emotions again. Okay, so this again is about the same situation. Okay, the Two of Wands is about a creative partnership of some kind. So this is likely to be the same situation in the first two cards at the beginning of the month, where some instability is raising its ugly head in that situation, some chaos. And this is going to be bringing forward a lot of emotions on your part, fear, anxiety, perhaps anger, a lot of emotions, and the cards are telling you that those emotions are not, do not allow them to dominate your mind, because they are part of an instinctive almost response to somebody raised in our culture about the fear of losing something that gives us validation. So these two cards again are about the creative partnership and the emotional response to a situation within it. The Two of Wands is a good card. It can indicate that ideas are realized in a creative partnership. So success in a creative partnership. A fortuitous card. It can indicate a period of stability, financial stability, as well as material stability, but only for those who truly believe in their own skills, who believe in themselves. For those who are doubting themselves and their skills and ability, then the card can indicate a less successful time, but the advice is to keep trying. Don't allow your self-doubts to jeopardize what's going on. It's saying that your efforts will be justly rewarded in the end. So if you are doubting the partnership, and this is probably the case from the previous cards, that you have doubts about this partnership, you have doubts about this endeavor, don't allow your emotions that are being driven by these doubts dominate your behavior at this time, because it could be very destructive. Recognize that these emotions are born of these paradigms. These ideas are culturally based ideas of success. Recognize them for what they are, so that you can consciously and mindfully not allow them to dominate your mind at this time. The 12 of Water, the Counselor card, is all about this as well. It's about recognizing that sometimes you need to keep your emotions in check. that you need to not repress them, but not allow yourself to be driven by them, especially if you're confused about where they stem from. So if you are feeling reactive or challenged, the advice is to perhaps you need to talk this through with somebody objective, somebody outside the situation that you trust their objectivity, and they're going to be honest with you, so that they may be the one who can say to us, well, look, you're feeling this way because of this. It's not really stemming from this situation. And the advice is that if you don't do this, if you don't get that advice or can't get that advice, and you allow your emotions to drive you at this time, it's not going to have the best response. It's going to muddy the waters, and it could be quite destructive to the situation. So the next two cards we've got the reversed King of Fire, which has been paired with the reversed Knight of Pentacles. So I would say that the first two pairs are probably to do with the first week of the month, with this situation in this partnership that you're involved in, where money's involved. So those two are going to be, I would say, probably for the same week. So I would say that these two are probably for the second week of July. Okay, so these two cards are a warning for you, Aquarians, at this time. Now, from what they're saying and from the previous cards, I would suggest that there has been some success in this venture. So far, that your ideas have been realized, that they've been taken on board, and they've been successful. And now we come to another challenging situation for you. Now, this situation is one that talks about the risks of, when we are successful at things, it can go to our heads. And we can become quite we can employ sometimes almost dominatory tactics, intimidation, passive aggressiveness, bullying in a way, to get things done. These indicates that you are in almost like a leadership position, not necessarily an overt leadership position, but a position where you are respected, where people are coming to you for advice, or you have responsibility here to get things done. And there's some challenges with this situation for you. Now, there's a risk that you are going to choose to employ intimidatory tactics of one form or another to get things done. And the cards are suggesting that's the wrong approach in this situation. The cards are suggesting that you keep your temper in check, that you think before you speak and think before you act. Be very careful on what you say and do in this week. Don't place yourself on a pedestal and expect others to worship you, because that's never a secure position. Pedestals often are knocked over very quickly. There may be an aura here as well, an energy of somebody doing very little but expecting much in return. This could be you, it could be somebody else. If it's somebody else, perhaps this is why your temper needs to be kept in check at this time. You could be becoming quite reactionary about this, and you could even be trying to intimidate, bully, use passive aggressiveness in order to get this other person to encourage them to start doing more. Perhaps they're holding things back. The advice of the cards is this is the wrong tactic, that this is going to make the situation worse potentially. You will feel these feelings, as the cards have said, but just don't let them dominate you. Look for alternative methods here. Look for less aggressive methods in which to achieve the same ends. Even if that's going to take a bit longer and be more challenging for you, the suggestion is that that's going to be a more rewarding outcome for everyone concerned. There's also a warning here, potentially, of financial misdemeanors. There could be an issue here with money. Check your money very carefully, any financial transactions at this time. And if you're given offers or potentials, read the fine print. Be very careful in the second week of July. And anything to do with finances, there may be an issue here that you're not aware of. So be very careful with that. Okay, so the third week, we have the Ten of Fire. That's been paired with the Nine of Wands reversed. Okay, so the Ten of Fire card represents self-mastery, mastery of self, mastery of your life. Now this is being paired with the Nine of Wands reversed. Now, what this is indicating that in around the third week of July, as a result of what's gone on, you're going to be feeling under stress. You're going to be feeling unreasonable demands on you. Perhaps there is this colleague that's not doing their fair share of the workload. If you've taken the advice of the previous cards and not reacted in an aggressive manner, then this week you're going to be feeling a bit under stress and under pressure. Like there's an unreasonable demand on you. That's how you're going to be feeling. Doesn't mean it's true, but it's how you're going to be feeling this week. The advice is that it's the self-mastery aspect, and the advice is that if this is the week, it's time for you to step up and take charge of yourself and your life. Now, you're already doing that this month by being in charge of your emotional self, not allowing that to be dominant and control you, and self-analyzing your emotions and your fears and where they come from. But this week is the week where it's the time to take charge of your life, and that involves your part of this creative partnership. But bear in mind the previous advice of how you go about this in the third week of July is very important. Keep your emotions in check. Yes, you feel them, but keep them in check. Perhaps there's a situation this week that things are going to come to a head, that you're going to feel, okay, now's the time I need to speak up. If that's the case, then try to clear yourself of these emotions before you do that. Close your eyes, take some deep breaths in and deep breaths out through your mouth, and feel these emotions leave your body. There's many ways of doing this, but simply visualize them in whatever way you choose, but visualize these emotions as a separate part of you that is going to be pushed out of your body. Allow your body to relax. Allow it to be filled with peace and calm. This is going to enable you to react to this situation in a much more rational, logical, and enlightened manner, without the cloudiness of doing so through intense, chaotic emotions. Okay, so the last week of the month we've got well done. Okay, so this one is an Earth card. So we've got the Nine of Earth, and that's been paired with the Lovers. Okay, so these are two very good cards to end this month with. So both cards indicate a harmonious time. The challenges that have come throughout this month that came to a head, and if you'd followed the advice, in the third week of the month, they've been resolved. There is a new commitment from all parties to an agreement, and this heralds a time of productivity and harmony within this relationship, this partnership of whatever kind it happens to be. The advice still is allow your head to guide you, not your heart. So again, it's about recognizing your emotions are only a part of you. They're not you. It's about this. They can help you. They can help to guide you, but they shouldn't drive you. The Lovers card indicates growth, perhaps meeting new people, new opportunities, growth in this area of your life. The Nine of Earth card represents this is a very good time to have a look at your home, to have a look at your place of domestic abode and clean house. But this could also, because this whole month has been about this partnership, there's an essence here that the resolution that is being reached or has just been reached at probably the end of the third week, beginning of the fourth week of the month, that may have involved an aspect of cleaning house. Things that are no longer necessary or not helpful may have been removed from the situation. So this may not necessarily be a forced removal, it just may have been the whole situation has led to them leaving a situation. Remember the warning in the third week about financial misdemeanors, so bear that in mind at this time. Still be careful with your finances. The last aspect of the Nine of Earth card is a reminder that it is always best. It is always best for ourselves if we are kind and charitable and generous to others. So there may be an aspect here that if you allow your emotions to drive you through this month, it may lead to a situation where you're less than generous or charitable because there's a sense perhaps of anger, a built-up resentment. That always comes back on you eventually, always. It's always best to keep in mind a charitable and generous and altruistic mindset whenever possible. That doesn't mean you let people get away with everything. It doesn't mean you don't, there aren't repercussions, but they should always be based in a sense of altruism, of generosity, of being kind to another person, because we are all flawed, all of us. We are all victims of this life, of all the information and the events and the traumas and everything that we experience. From the second we are aware in the womb to the minute we die, we're all created. Our identities are created by what we experience. So we're all victims of our own life. And we're also all the perpetrators to others of their victimhood throughout our lives. Being aware of that allows you to rise above it a little and just be aware of that. So you can recognize that the other person's behavior is not really them. It's not their idealistic true self. It's the expression of this flawed self. Once you take that on board and you recognize that, then it's much easier to allow your own natural emotions not to drive you, and to keep in mind it's best to be charitable, it's best to be generous and altruistic and forgiving most of all. Okay, so that's the end of the reading for July for Aquarians. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope it helps to guide you through this month. Quite a challenging month, but a good month overall, because the cards are saying that yes, you're going to go through some stress. The advice for the first couple of weeks is hold your tongue, keep your emotions in check, let them flow through you, work to allow them to flow out of you. Don't allow them to drive you in this situation. The time for this situation to be resolved is in around the 3rd week of the month. That's the ideal time at that point. Try to resist that in the first couple of weeks of the month. And if you do that and keep your emotions in check and use your head, not your heart, but also when this is resolved at the end, keep in mind that we are all spirit living in a physical body. Then it will have a very successful resolution for everybody concerned, for everybody's best interests overall. Okay, so thank you very much for coming. If you've enjoyed this reading and you find it helpful, please like the video. Please consider sharing the video on social media platforms and subscribing as well for more readings. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon.